All right, hello and welcome into the Hawkeye Headquarters Weekly Podcast. Evan Denton, Joel Keller. We're going old school this week. We're going back over Zoom because it is the holiday season. Joel, how are you enjoying your hometown?
It's pretty good out in Des Moines. Was able to catch that Iowa men's basketball game at the Well or the Casey Center. No, it's a good time. It's good to be back.
Well, I'm lucky that you're back home. I'm going to be going back to Michigan on Christmas Eve, so I'm also looking forward to seeing some family. But let's start with that game that was in the Casey Center now. Iowa men's basketball takes down Bucknell 94 to 39. What are a couple of your biggest takeaways from that game?
Uh, I mean, this is just a good, sound Iowa team. I think they went down 10-2 to start the game, and then from there, it was all Hawks, and they did it in just such a fun way, just good basketball. There weren't really any mistakes. They were good with the ball. They were good passing it around, and then Fulgaris. I mean, he looked kind of what we all thought we were getting. I know it's Bucknell, but he was hitting some threes. He was driving in, and then he was dishing out. So I really liked what I saw. I mean, on every level. I mean, 19 steals. You can't really complain defensively at all. And it was a fun game to be at. It was a fun crowd.
Yeah, I think what stood out to me was the defensive effort. Like you said, a lot of steals, and that was started by Isaiah Howard, who had seven steals on the game. And I think if Iowa can find a second lockdown perimeter defender alongside Tavion Banks, that's gonna be very advantageous come the Big Ten season. I saw Bulgaris' stat line. I'm like, okay, nice double digits, 17 points. But then, like you said, it is Bucknell. All right. And can this be a consistent performance when we get back into the heart of Big Ten play? He's clearly shown that he can take on the mid majors and dominate, but I
Yeah.
want to see him be more consistent against the big boys in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and Hawks are actually just got ranked in top 25 in the AP poll. So
The AP is finally showing some love to Iowa sports. Who would have thought?
it's about time. Oh my gosh. They should have been ranked. They should have been ranked probably a week or two ago minimum, but it's gonna be on there. And no, like he said, Fulgaris, like I don't know. I feel like there's no reason why he shouldn't be able to perform against like the top teams. Like he's got all the pieces. He can shoot, he can dribble as a big guy, he can defend. But for whatever reason, whenever the Hawks play a power forward team, he just kind of disappears. So it's something that he needs to kind of grind out.
And now there's only one more non-conference game left for the Hawkeyes. I'm kind of shocked that Bulgaris hasn't become a that fifth starter yet at this point. But maybe McCollum enjoys going small ball. But I thought at some point, during the non-conference, Bulgaris would get that final starter spot.
Yeah, even just to like test it out, give it a trial run. Because I mean, I like the lineup now, but these some of these other Big Ten teams, they've got a lot of height, and it's like you can't go and throw out a bunch of guys that are under 6'8" against teams with two 7-footers. Like everyone on the starting lineup's over 6'8". So it would be nice to get him some reps there early on in games.
And obviously, I'm a little bit of a homer for Michigan, but I mean, talking about lineups, Michigan's front court is tall, taller, and tallest. And I
Yeah.
just, when they play Iowa in late in March, I want to see how that kind of matchup goes. Because yes, Iowa has the quickness, but Michigan has the muscle down low. And I think if Iowa doesn't figure out a way to play two bigs at once, that could be their kryptonite moving forward in the Big Ten.
I think so. Yeah. Once we get to tournament time, once we get to March, Iowa better hope they're not facing anybody with multiple 7-footers down low because I just don't know how they would defend against that. You could just throw it inside all day, play in and out ball.
Absolutely. All right. So you were actually at the game inside the Casey Center. What was the atmosphere like there?
It was pretty fun. It's the first game that I've been to this year for the Hawks in person. And I know from last year and the year prior and so on, the Carver crowd has not been energetic really. But I would say they brought the energy yesterday. We did only stand 4 or 5 times, which I think Iowa fans need to start standing and getting into it. You see like the entire Iowa bench and they're all like wait like stand up like get into it and no one stands. Everyone's just like cheering from their seats. It's something that needs to be changed, but I think the crowd here in Des Moines against the Bucknell team showed out. I mean, they showed up. It was almost a sellout and people were excited, especially once the Hawks started pulling away and They kept slamming the dunks, getting fast break motion. I think we had Sturts threw up an alley oop, that was the first one that got people standing was the alley oop because it's been a while since we've seen some fun plays like that in transition.
And last week during media availability, McCollum, he kind of alluded to that Iowa is looking into doing more home games outside Carver Hawkeye and maybe in
Mhm.
cities like Des Moines. What are your thoughts on the Hawkeyes having home games outside of Iowa City?
I like it. I mean, I feel like Iowa's kind of rare in a state where it's like you have two big teams. Basically, everyone in the state is a fan of either Iowa or Iowa State. So that means there's so much land to cover. And for a team like Iowa, where it's like you got a good women's basketball team and a good men's basketball team, people from Des Moines are not making that trip 3 to 4 times a week to get to all the games, which is why I think you kind of see the lopside of like those women's games are sellouts. The men's games, you get like half the arena full on a good night. So I think meeting the people where they're at's really good, especially like in the non-con season where you are bringing in opponents like Bucknell, who no one is like really jumping at the bit to drive 2 hours for. But then it's also, I mean, you got the Quad Cities too. Um, but I mean, they've played in Vibrant before, and I don't see why they would stop coming back because, I mean, you go and meet your two biggest cities where all your fans are basically.
Yeah, when Iowa played at Vibrant last year against Wazoo, I mean, obviously Iowa had Owen Freeman and Brock Hardy, so two local guys. That place was sold out. It was one of the louder environments of the year. But I think if they do go the Des Moines route, it needs to be against a Power Four team. All right, maybe out of the Big 12 off the top of my head, maybe a Oklahoma. Sorry, not Oklahoma. I'm sorry. Let's go with like a middle of the pack Big 12 team. Houston, that'd be a pretty cool draw to get them to come
Houston's
to Des
comfortable, yeah.
Moines. But if you're going to play games in Des Moines, it has to be a bigger team than Bucknell. And so,
You think? Yeah. I think if they brought in a bigger team like that, I think the energy would it'd be hard to match what they would get at the Casey Center. I mean, with all the Iowa fans out here, and it's like you're bringing a big team into Des Moines, people would get behind that.
or if you want to stick with the Ben McCullum route, maybe play Drake at the
That
Casey Center.
that would be amazing. That's got to be place. I think tickets would probably go like triple digits that at that point.
1000%. But yeah, I'm definitely in the boat of playing home games in other parts of Iowa. Just cap it at maybe two or three a year.
Yeah, yeah, don't go too crazy with it. That's like maybe one in the Quad Cities, one in Des Moines, and call it good, or one year go to the Dakotas and play out there or something.
Okay, so like you were saying, Iowa's back in the top 25 of the AP. They're also in the top 15 of these net rankings. And I know you love your data. I'm not really the biggest net rankings, but from what you've seen so far, is Iowa really a top 15 team?
I think they're probably borderline. Like I'd give them in the top 20, I think. But I think what McCollum is doing is really, really smart for a first year coach who brought in all these guys from Drake. And even though they went to the tournament, still it's like these are 2 stars, 3 stars, if anything at all. Um, you know, if there's a committee or we've seen it with the AP, people aren't getting too excited about this team nationally. It's more of the home media, the Iowa media is really the ones pumping uh, some of the electricity into the Hawkeye basketball team. But to expose the net ranking system the way McCollum has, where he's just focusing on the possession efficiencies, and that's why they're in the top 15. And since they're in the top 15 now, it's like they're almost guaranteed a spot in the tournament as long as they don't lose like 10 in a row. So I mean, just to secure that spot in the tournament is like massive for McCollum, and I like how he's been doing it.
And I know we're only in December, but I have been keeping track of bracketology. And like you were saying, Iowa currently is firmly in the field. I just guess they have 10 wins on the year, and they beat Ole Miss, who went into the tournament a year ago. But then they have wins over, I mean, a Bucknell teams. They're not going to the tournament. Western Illinois, respectfully, I don't know how much those wins are quality wins, but by the metrics, Iowa's looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, by the metrics, there's over a 98% chance to get in the tournament. So, I mean, I just think I think it's smart just this year one, and then once McCollum starts bringing in the guys that Iowa as a Big Ten team should get, I think you start scheduling those tougher teams and start building towards, hey, maybe getting a top 5 or 4 seed, and working up from there. But just to make the tournament year one and get that on your belt, and some of that pressure probably off the shoulders too, to in the first year as the head coach of the program. I think it's smart the way he's doing it.
Yeah, I think that's number one on all of Iowa fans' wish list this holiday season. It's just hearing their name being called on Selection Sunday come mid-March. Iowa's last non-conference game is against UMass Lowell on the 29th. All right, let's go to Iowa women's basketball. They played took the court with the number one team in the country, the defending champs, UConn. They lose this one 90-64 out in Brooklyn. Now, it's one thing to lose a game, but it's how you lose, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Joel, what went wrong for the Hawkeyes?
I it's just two different teams, two different leagues almost. I mean, I think the women are still a phenomenal team. I think there's probably Sweet 16 range, but they're not. I mean, if UConn is the championship team this year, Iowa is nowhere near them, even though they're a top 20 team in the nation. UConn is just a different breed. They're insane.
I mean, the spectrum in women's basketball, like you said, is wild because UConn was number one. I was still in the top 15. That was respectfully varsity versus JV. I mean, by the first timeout, Iowa had already turned the ball over 6 times, and that was a small sample size of what the game would end up being. I mean, Iowa had over 25 turnovers. UConn had 40 points off of those turnovers. You're not going to win many games like that, especially when you're playing a team that has Sarah Strong, who might be the best player in America. And
Yeah.
it just, no, I think the pressure of seeing UConn across the chest got to the Hawkeyes.
I think so too, yeah. But I do think they're a team that I don't think Iowa State really plays close with UConn either. Like, uh, I say take this with a grain of salt and have that just lower your expectations a little bit. Like Final Four run would be crazy, but the Hawks are not getting a ring this year. So if that was in your mind, I'd say just throw that one away and hope for compete in the Big Ten tournament, try and win the championship there, go on a run, and then see how far you can make it in March.
No, I agree with you that the ceiling for this team is probably the Sweet 16. Initially, I thought, okay, maybe they could squeeze into the Elite Eight, but after what I saw on this past weekend, I think my new expectation is just get the second weekend, and that will be considered a win for this year. I
Yep.
think we all saw that Iowa's kryptonite, though, is going to be pressure defense. Because, yes, Chit Chat Wright played well, but eventually she's going to get tired. And there needs to be other experienced ball handlers who can take on that pressure. And I know they just had finals. They might have failed that exam.
Yeah. I mean, ever since Caitlin's years, ball handling has been kind of a big issue, I think. I mean, last year there's just the one with Lucy Olson too. So, getting some depth in there would be nice. And they do, I mean, they have some stuff, I'm sure, some noise going around in the program, the locker room with all the Emily Rodriguez stuff that's been going on. So, that finals, I guess, and uh going to New York and playing UConn on a neutral court in front of all of their fans. That's a tough one to come out of on top.
Well, someone on this podcast, it might have been me, said that Emily Rodriguez was going to be Iowa's leading scorer. That prediction is not materializing the way I thought it was going to, but we have to wait and see what her progress is with this team, whether or not she's going to play again for Iowa this year. Let's talk a little bit about the potentials of this one loss avalanching into multiple losses down the stretch. How could a game like that hurt the players' confidence?
Yeah, I mean, they just got dominated, right? So they only scored over 20 points in one quarter, and you don't really have time to bounce back from it. We saw them, obviously beat a Lindenwood team that's not too great, but that's how they bounced back from that first loss of the year against Iowa State. Well, now it's like you don't get a cupcake to beat next week. It's Penn State. Penn State's like not the best Big Ten team, but it's a Big Ten team. And then you're back to playing top 25 teams with Nebraska. So you just gotta go home and flush it. get off the plane and you're focused on Penn State and, you know, working on getting it into the post a little better, more efficiently, less turnovers, like you were saying, and then just restart the season. You know, it's Big Ten play now, Big Ten season. Luckily, that's a good little separator. It's like, okay, non-con's done, Big Ten season now. Let's play.
Iowa's 10-2 on the year, and we know that this is a very young team compared to years past. Like you said, there's no Caitlin Clark, there's no Kate Martin, Gabby Marshall, and that crew. They're all gone. What would you give this team grade-wise so far through this year?
I'd say a B plus. I
Yeah.
mean, we've seen a lot of uh potential for the rest of the year. I mean, like there's been some really, really good games from them. Like think back, like I know Baylor, that was an ugly game. That was a great win. Miami was a great win. Um, so they're so young. It's like they're gonna have these growing pains. We know that. We knew that coming into the year. But I mean, we've seen some really high potentials for ceiling next season. Now it's about getting that experience, hopefully going on a little bit of a magical run in the springtime. But I mean, they've won all the games they should have. Even a couple that they weren't probably favored in, like Baylor, and then they've lost to the two hardest games on the schedule, which the Iowa State one is just gonna. I think that's gonna eat at Iowa fans a lot after losing in every major sport to the Cyclones this year. But yeah, Iowa State's a great team. You know, and they weren't supposed to win that one, so you can't really knock them too hard for it, especially at Hilton.
I was gonna give them a B plus, but just the way that the UConn game really unraveled early brought me back down to say a B minus. I wanted to see a little bit more fight, but they just were outplayed at every single position,
Yeah.
and so I think they're still a work in progress. Yes, think they make the tournament. I think they can still host a couple host a couple tournament games, but they can't have another showing like they had on Saturday.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. All right. From the hardwood over to the gridiron, Iowa football getting ready to take on Vanderbilt in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Unlike other bowl games, these two teams are all in. We haven't seen any player opt outs. What does that say about the Iowa culture that these guys want to play in this bowl game?
Yeah, I mean, we saw it last year too. It's just the way Iowa plays, and I think a lot of it comes down, obviously, to coach Kirk Ferentz, but I think he's done a good job instilling the importance of playing in these bowl games. Even if you're leaving to the NFL next year, if this is your final game in the black and gold, I mean, get to play an SEC team at the end of January or at the end of December, and you get to go up against all these other NFL guys or NFL hopefuls. I mean, you can really, really make a statement for yourself and jump up a round or two, or maybe go from day three to a day two pick with a good spring as well. But I mean, he's gotten the guys bought in, and I mean, the young guys, they always come out swinging too. I mean, we keep hearing all this buzz about so and so and so, like all these freshmen that didn't play at all, and hardly had any true practice time there in summer ball, and now they're showing out when they get the opportunity here in December. So he's done a good job, like just showing the importance, getting the players to know the importance of still competing to win that game, even though in the grand scheme of things there's not really a lot of meaning, with the college football playoff, but I mean, I would still take a bowl win. It's always nice to get
Mhm.
one more to that win total.
I think Aaron Graves said it best. Why train if you're not trying to win?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's clear that the entire team has that mindset of, hey, we're wearing the black and gold one more time for this collective 2025 team. We want to end on a high note. And Xavier Wampa kind of added to that, where his career more or less started in a bowl game, and to be able to bookend it with the one more win wearing the black and gold, that would mean the world to him. And so these seniors want to go out on a high note. And like you said, extra practices in bowl games allow for younger players to get their foot in the door, if you will. And
hmm
there's been a lot of buzz about a local product, Cam Buffington, being that next very big linebacker for Iowa. I mean, he came from eight-man football at Winfield Mount Union. So hopefully we get to see him take a few snaps. He had an interception against Minnesota in garbage time, obviously, but I think he's the young player that I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing more on the field. who was your young freshman or young player that you want to see emerge in the
Mine's
bowl?
actually mine's Buffington too. I mean, I don't know how many snaps he'll get in this bowl game, but I just hope he gets a couple because I mean, if you think like through this past year, a lot of our main problems on defense was linebacker. You know, Shire had a good season, but other than that, I mean, obviously there were some injuries to Harrell and stuff, but consistently down the line, once the Hawks got into November and you know Oregon, USC, all the like premier opponents, it was kind of like the linebackers kind of fell short. It seemed like so to get Buffington all this buzz about how well he's playing in practice. I'm excited to see him put it on the field and show it, and maybe make a statement and make everyone a little comfortable losing all these guys on defense next year.
Absolutely. It is the last game of the year for this Iowa team. It's also the last time that I will have LeVar Woods on the sideline as special teams coordinator because he's heading off to MSU to join Pat Fitzgerald's staff as their assistant head coach and special teams coordinator. Iowa fans know how important special teams is. How big of a loss is this going to be for Iowa?
I mean, this is a massive loss. I mean, he's been the best special teams coordinator for what, 5 years at
Yeah,
least now.
at
I
least.
mean, they've been exceptional every year, and he's definitely a big reason why we've had DeJean, Weegan, Charlie Jones before that, all these great returners. So it's gonna be a tough loss. Hopefully, I'm hoping the identity of Iowa as a good special teams crew, is gonna make it easier to continue that down the road. But you know, you're losing LeVar, you're losing um, Drew Stevens too. So it's like and Caden Weegan. So a couple key guys on that special teams unit. So it's gonna be interesting how they kind of attack that. Whether they go in the portal or just moving guys around, trying people out at that returner position. It's gonna be it's scary. It's scary waters, but I will say I honestly do think we have not seen the last of LeVar Woods in the black and gold.
And what do you mean by that, Joel?
I think I think this sets up as LeVar Woods could be the heir to the throne of Ferentz. Everyone keeps thinking Ferentz is gonna hang it up soon. I don't know. I give him like 3 to 5 years probably, leaning more towards the 5. 5 years for LeVar Woods. He's the assistant head coach now at Michigan State. Maybe he grabs a head coaching spot in a year or two at a group of five school, and
Right.
then Ferentz hangs it up. Hey, LeVar, we'll give you 5 million a year for the next 5 years if you come be the head coach of Iowa and continue the legacy. And I think that's how it's gonna happen.
I think you might be onto something because it was very apparent in the press conference that LeVar Woods one day wants to become a head coach, and I mean, I know his blood is red, but it's clearly black and gold, and I think his mindset is, all right, I need to put in some time elsewhere to prove to the Iowa staff that I am the guy, and I think your prediction of within the next five 5 to 6 years. I
Yeah.
think LeVar Woods having another press conference in Iowa City, being named the next head coach of the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And it makes sense. I mean, he wasn't moving up in the Iowa
Right.
coaching staff at all. I mean, Phil's right in and out with Kirk until he's done. Lester's been phenomenal. He's not leaving anytime soon. So, I mean, Seth Wallace, he's been also a key name there at the assistant head coach. So, he was kind of trapped there at special teams. And I think him getting some uh, just some more opportunities to coach either the offense, defensive side of the ball. It's going to pay off dividends here in the future. You know, if not Iowa, just for his future as a coach as well.
Yeah. Well, congrats to LeVar Woods. Is always a very good interview. Great guy. A very big gift for MSU. Not just LeVar Woods, but also Nick Sheridan, the former Michigan quarterback who has been the Alabama OC. He's now coming to East Lansing. Pat Fitzgerald putting together a pretty nice staff.
Yeah, I mean, he was always a good coach at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Obviously, like left on some just weird conditions. But he always had Iowa's number. It was always a close game, no matter how good or bad Northwestern was that year. And I mean, he took him to a Big Ten championship one year too. So, I mean, obviously, you know it from being from there.
Yeah.
Northwestern's not a football school
We
whatsoever. So
we are not.
to be able to take him to the championship, yeah, that's pretty impressive. I think he's a good hire for Michigan State. I think it keeps the Big Ten brand there, and I think they'll be solid.
Absolutely. All right, so you are back in the Des Moines area, which is closer to Iowa State. Their quarterback, Rocco Becht, is no
Mhm.
longer there. He is now in the portal. When you saw that news, Greg, what was going through your mind?
Well, instantly I thought, of course, he's going to Penn
That's,
State.
yeah,
But I mean, I was just paying attention to the portal, what's happening, and Bill Pribula back in the portal now. He was at Penn State, then Missouri, and he this could be reading into it a little much, but on his Twitter account, he changed his banner and profile picture to him on the Nittany Lions. I was like,
interesting.
is what if Pribula goes back to Penn State? Then where does Rocco Beck go? And I've been talking to some Iowa State fans, and they're like, I don't think Rocco Becht is good enough for Penn State. I'm like, really? Like, you guys are praising him at the beginning of the season. So, all right. I think Rocco Becht's good enough for the Iowa or from Penn State. And I wouldn't be upset if Iowa maybe gave him a call real quick and said, what does it take for you to come over here? I mean, he's got a good arm. He's mobile enough. He's a good quarterback. And wherever he goes, I mean, they're gonna get a guy who's gonna have a good season for him. Maybe not championship level, but or Heisman level, but he's gonna get him to win some games.
So according to the Joel transfer portal tracker, Iowa should go after both Becht and then Aiden Childs at the same time.
Aiden Childs is probably a pipe dream there. But Aiden Childs is more of a guy. I think wherever he goes, group of five, I'm gonna be high on him going into the year because he's just one of those quarterbacks who, yeah, he's gonna make a lot of mistakes, but he can make some special plays sometimes. So I think he just needs somewhere where he can have the opportunity, not have to play Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Iowa, all these great defenses week after week.
Yeah. All right, let's do a quick run through of the first round of playoff games. Did this past weekend's games meet your expectations, exceed them, or fall below overall?
The game on Friday, Bama, Oklahoma, exceeded my expectations. Every other game fell way below. I mean, I was listening to that A&M Miami game on the road, and I was like, I'm so happy I'm not watching this. Like, this is just ugly.
Your
Just
guy
field goal.
Marcel Reed did not exactly show up for that game.
No, no, he did not.
He had maybe 4 or 5 good throws, and then of course the last throw of the year for him was a terrible interception in
Yeah.
the end zone. And A&M loses their college football playoff debut and becomes the first home team. Sorry, second home team to lose after Oklahoma, who's still winless in their playoff history. I didn't mind seeing the SEC lose 2 games. Not gonna
Oh,
lie,
that's pretty nice. All
but
that complaining and stuff, and it's like, yeah, maybe we should have thrown you in there.
James Madison, thank you for showing up, but that was
Yep.
a bloodbath. And Tulane, come
Uh,
on.
did they play that game?
According
I
to sources, they did.
I don't think they played it. I think they Tulane missed their plane or something, I think, and Ole Miss got a free ride. They got lucky.
So, compared to last year, the first round in games this year definitely weren't nearly as interesting. But
Yeah, I
hopefully
mean
that leads.
last year too weren't really anything to write home about. I mean Tennessee got knocked out of the park in Columbus. A lot of people are like talking about how this means they shouldn't allow a group of five teams in. And yeah, maybe two is a little much. But I mean, we see SEC teams last year get blown out. Everyone gets blown out. I mean, TCU got blown out by like 50 in the championship game. It happens, and it's I think it more alludes to like it should not be 12 teams. 12 teams is way too much for the top team. Six is my I want six. Eight is fine,
Mhm.
but 12 is just, I mean, Miami and A&M, they were never winning a championship,
Yeah.
Maybe I'll eat my words and Miami's defense is gonna power them to a championship now, but I think you could really point to like six teams this year who actually have a shot, and I think this first round kind of proved that.
I think all the teams that lost on Saturday, so JMU, Tulane, Texas A&M, if I would have played them either on the road or a neutral site, I really do think Iowa wins those games.
Yeah, I think Iowa beats every team that played over the weekend, obviously they're not gonna win every game. But I think they really would have a good shot at beating every team other than Alabama. I mean, Oklahoma, they are apt to making a lot of mistakes. I mean, Mateer at times looks like a Heisman guy, and then sometimes he looks like he should not be starting. And I think I mean if Iowa played either A&M and Miami in those conditions, Iowa was winning that game. That is where they thrive.
Mhm.
Low scoring, and it comes out of special teams. Yeah, the Hawks got that one. So. It just shows again, like we're so close. The
Yes.
Hawks were so close this year, and they really could have made it to that second round, but things happen. Comes down to one or two plays each game.
One or two plays, 1 2 inches literally for the Hawkeyes, and this is a very different season. Probably doing this podcast from one of the bowl game, one of the playoff sides, honestly. Uh,
Yeah.
but now we're on to the quarterfinals. Which game in the quarterfinals stands out to you?
Uh, I would go. I'd go Bama, Indiana. I think that one's gonna be a fun one. I mean, Kurt Signetti has been phenomenal. I mean, it's kind of redemption game, a little bit revenge for Kurt Cinetti and Alabama when he was a coach there. And Alabama, they had probably their worst 6 quarters of football, the last 6 quarters. But the last two in that game, that last half, they looked really good. And, maybe they can use that to kind of spark themselves up. And, Indiana, they've shown against the really good teams, they're not gonna score 70 points. So I think Alabama's gonna be able to stick in there. It's two good defenses. And I think, if Ty Simpson can bring it, Ryan Williams can wake up from wherever he's been. They could probably make some noise and knock off an Indiana team. I'm sure they're gonna be ready, but I mean, you always think, okay, they just had their biggest win in school history. How are you gonna respond to that? Are you gonna still be kind of celebrating that in practice, not as locked in? I mean, Signetti, I trust him to get him ready, but you never really know, player to player.
Big Ten title, AP Coach of the Year, Heisman Trophy winner for the first time in program history.
Yeah.
Everything is going in Indiana's direction, but I still do believe that Bama is able to knock them off. And for the second straight year, the number one overall seed, the Big Ten champ, is out after the quarterfinals. I'm looking forward to Oregon, Texas Tech. All right,
That's
because
a fun one too.
Oregon's offense is humming. They're very good. The Tech defense might be the best in the country that's not getting enough recognition with Jacob Rodriguez at middle linebacker. But the way Oregon's offense looked against, I know it's James Madison, but Dante Moore, he has that chip on his shoulder, like, hey, I'm still one of the top quarterbacks in the country. I could be a top 10 pick in the upcoming draft. This is going to be his moment. And I think Oregon gets that win. So that's the one I'm looking most forward to.
Yep.
I think Ohio State just rolls over Miami.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that one that could be a game where hey, you go cheer on some basketball or something during it. But second half, go make some dinner or something because that could really be a blowout.
And then Georgia, Ole Miss, a battle of two SEC teams down at the Sugar Bowl. That one kind of makes sense. I think I don't see how Ole Miss wins this one, to be honest. I think Georgia will
Yeah,
upset
yeah.
9 out of 10 times, and Kirby Smart, he knows the format already. He'll be ready. He'll have his team ready to go. Georgia all day.
Yeah, you can talk about the chip on the Ole Miss shoulder with all the Kiffin stuff all you want. They've been overmatched against Georgia. Even with Kiffin, they still lose this game without him. With everything that's been going on, I think they get blown out of the water too. I mean, Georgia's just so good. Stockton, he's turned it on at the end of the year. He's kind of shown like he's the guy everyone thought he was coming into the year, where he can win those big games. And I wouldn't want to catch Georgia right now. I think the collision course for Georgia and Ohio State is just, oh, it's going to be good. That game's going to be good.
It is the best time of the year. We've got college basketball going and college football. It's also the holiday season. So for Hawkeye Headquarters Weekly Podcast, Evan Den alongside Joel Keller. Have a great holiday season.